Okay, so have you ever wondered why some of the people in your life resist your desire so much? Maybe you've always imagined yourself doing something else, but you keep caving into the resistance. Today, the bombing of border bullies and how to overcome them to manifest your best life in 3, 2, 1.
Pushing the boundaries of expectations and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Greetings, KB creators all around the world. I'm Stephen Canyon. So glad you could join us for another adventure of attracting our best lives. If you'd like to send an email, I will get it and read it and maybe respond. KineticBelieve@StephenCanyon.com is the email address. StephenCanyon.com is the website. Hello, Miss Maggie.
Hello, you're so mysterious.
Oh, you keep them guessing,
Will
right?
won't I?
I love getting those emails, actually.
Yeah.
I love the way you're dressed today.
Well, thank you.
It must be fall.
It is fall.
It snowed.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you believe it snowed?
Oh,
we got
love
snowed
it.
on, everybody.
Love it, love it, love
Coming,
it.
I mean, literally a
Bring
week
it
ago,
on.
it was 110 degrees in the desert. And we came up into the mountains of Utah, and it snowed on us.
I think we like extremes.
You think so?
Maybe.
There's no in between.
Action is proving that out.
I want to go snowshoeing. I want to go snowmobiling. I want to make
too.
some snow cream. I want to throw some snowballs. There's not enough on the ground for that.
Oh,
there is,
man.
there.
Maybe we'll listen to some Christmas music today or something just to satiate.
Is it too soon for that?
Nah, never too soon.
Well, you look great.
Well, thanks.
I'm looking forward to
Thank you
going
so
out
much.
with you today.
Oh, I love that. Thanks.
Today, the bombing of border bullies. Why don't we jump right into this one?
Oh, man. This feels big.
It is big.
Yeah. Feels huge, actually.
This is one of those things that I think probably most people aren't aware that there are those in their lives that are throwing those bombs. And it's just, we've gotten used to it and we
Yeah.
just accept it.
Absolutely.
But let's look at it.
Yeah.
Let's dig into this.
So we can overcome it once and for all.
I know a lot of our listeners, and we're getting so much feedback now that some of them may have just recently become aware of the law of attraction. And perhaps, you're all excited about your dream journey, but you just really aren't sure where to start. One of the most important things to do as a kinetic believer or someone who's on their way to becoming a kinetic believer is, first of all, discover your genius of purpose, the reason why you are here on this little blue planet drifting through the cosmos while orbiting the star.
There is a reason.
There's a reason. We
Yes.
each have a purpose, a genius of purpose that is in there, and it's there for discovery. It's not off in some distant land. It lies within each one of us. And this is where our journey really begins. So a quick guide for, I want to throw this in there, for a quick guide for navigating your journey, locating your genius of purpose. I want you to ask yourself the following questions. What have you always been good at? That's a good one. What is it that you've always really just naturally been good at? What do you care about most? I mean, what do you most admire in life? What makes you feel most fulfilled? What do you enjoy actually doing the most? What have you felt compelled to do in your life? Because if you'll answer those questions fearlessly, and I say fearlessly because often we'll start to answer these kind of questions and we think, what would Tom think I should say here? Or what would Mama and Dim tell me I need to be writing down at this point? But no, you answer the
Right.
questions fearlessly. And if you do that, you will have located the very beginning to your attraction journey.
Yeah.
The things that you put the kinetic belief energetics into to begin attracting into your life, because that's where you're going to locate your best life.
Well, and I love that you said do this fearlessly, because we do have a very centric culture that is very centric around status and money and things. And so if you love bird watching and that's just the thing that sets your soul ablaze, you might have a little voice that says, well, that's not big enough. That's not grand enough. And so I think a lot of times, we've sort of been it's the border bully thing, right? I mean, we've been talked into this cookie cut lifestyle that we're supposed to check all the boxes.
That's right, Meg. But you know what? It's in the bird watching that you're going to find joy and happiness.
Exactly.
And you're going to find your best life. You're going to find perfected health. You're going to find your wealth, the abundance of life, because that's your purpose.
Yes.
Is watching the birds. Sometimes I wish that was my purpose.
I know.
I'm going to go out here and watch. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm going out here to watch some birds.
I got some
today.
new binoculars, some new field
I hear
glasses.
there's one in the area that's never been here before.
Well, that's a big lie, though, isn't it? Especially in the United States, I think, is that materialism. Because, you don't have a building with your name on it. Well, it's not worthy.
No, we each have a creative genius of purpose. And for the
Yes,
kinetic belief
yes.
creative, when their genius of purpose has been located, we begin constructing our articles of faith. This is where we recognize what our beliefs should be built around. Today, I really want to talk about obstacle blockers to manifesting our best lives, our purpose for even being here on this planet. The law of attraction works unless we are uncertain about why we're here in the first place. Most of what people work for, and like you're saying, what most people end up chasing after all the days of their life and run around in circles, pursuing, trying to have, was never meant for them in the first place. Most of what we see exists in the gallery of life for our appreciation. When you look around, it's there for you just to marvel at and enjoy the sight of. It's for our enjoyment, for the delight of our intellect. And it's not for us to actually become imitators of. I mean, it's the same thing, and we've talked about this often. It's the same as us visiting an art gallery. And when we journey inside the process of creativity, when we visit those galleries, it's the creational work of others that cause us to be meditative, and that's what we use for inspiration.
Yes.
We don't necessarily go home and try to become
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci. But the creational work of other people
Yeah.
should be meditative, and it should be inspiring. Yeah. Art galleries restore a sense of calm and wholeness within us, and it elevates our personal creativity. But it's the same that is true when we take a daily walk through life's gallery. This multiplicity of creative expressions that's all around us, that comes from within the personalities of all these other 7 billion human creatives walking on the planet. And simply because we admire someone else's ideas, we admire their lifestyle, their pursuits, that doesn't mean that we should try to all of a sudden live their lives, so to speak. The best idea for anyone that brings fulfillment faster than anything is it's within your own personal genius of purpose. And most people will spend a lifetime chasing the dreams of others. Actually, some of our biggest border bullies in life are ourselves. And I just want to throw that out right here at the beginning. It says, don't start looking around and pointing the finger and using this as an excuse. Most of the time it's yourself, especially when it comes to attracting new things into our lives and becoming even greater. So a border bully is any thought. It's any thought form, any idea that keeps you from advancing your mind, body, or soul. Border bullies are often self-inflicted, and it's just negative thinking. Border bullies may be some of the people in your life, which we're going to probably enjoy more than we should digging into today.
And it seems like you're giving us this really strong sense, too, that part of this process is also putting a renewed sense of value on creativity. Because I think a lot of times we can see creativity as a hobby, a side pursuit. But I love this idea that you're putting a fresh, renewed sense of just a high value on our personal, unique creativity.
Well, most people don't really understand creativity is nothing more than the enjoyment of your intellect, the enjoyment of being challenged in the pursuits that you were originally designed to pursue.
Yeah.
So that's what creativity is. But look, old habits can be border bullies. Your old habits can be your border bullies, and old habits are like worn out T-shirts that we just like to keep. They're comfortable, they are familiar.
They are hideous.
But they're right. But now you can ask just about anybody, and sure, they would like to change. Absolutely, I want to change. But when it comes to getting rid of the old T-shirt mentality, it rattles their whole world. Well, I can't do that. After all, I've had that T-shirt since I was 10 years old. You can see me at the beach with the family.
It's finally broken in.
I don't care that I'm 33. It's my T-shirt. But look, by looking within to locate our personal journey, we start to become free from every negative influencer. A border bully is the idea of anything that causes us to become stuck in the fear of change.
I have to say, you're really throwing us for a loop today. I really anticipated getting to make a list of, all the people that were keeping me down.
Didn't we all? I know. I'm looking forward to this
I'm
one.
already writing
Let
names.
me tell you what's wrong with you. No, the
Okay.
average person will spend a lifetime waiting and hoping that their old T-shirt habits are going to work out for them.
Wow.
And so they start to believe that, by being patient in my old way of thinking, that my ship is eventually going to come in.
Wow.
Look, reconstructing our beliefs, that is the process of rewilding ourselves back to the beginning before we were ever negatively influenced away from our sole purpose for being here. Now, what I'm about to tell you, a lot of people are not willing to do. But positive change, it may mean that you will lose people, or that they'll no longer like you or even love you. To attract success into our lives, to become wealthy or healthy, full of joy, always happy, it may mean losing some of the people that you're used to having around you. Border bullies are those nagging inner thoughts or those negative people that will tell you change isn't good. I mean, regardless of who says it, it doesn't matter where you read it, where you may hear it. Living your best life is possible. It is the pursuit of it. It's the journey that is our best life. It's not a destination. Your best life is in the pursuit of your best life.
That's great.
And if you believe it's not possible, I am telling you that you will keep and continue attracting the same thing. Those inner voices, tag teaming with the folks speaking negativity into your life, is what can take us. It can take us just out of the pursuit of our best life unless we make a decision to do what is right for us. Doing what is right for you is also going to ultimately end up being the right thing for everybody that you love and everyone around you.
Wow. I have a question about that. You mentioned that you might lose some people that love you, that care about you. And without realizing it, I always thought of border bullies as people who didn't actually care for you. But I'm wondering, wow, so border bullies can love you and care for you, but still be participating in this toxic activity.
A person can desire being around you, love your energetics, love having you around them, but they're broken in their sense of what it means to love someone. And it's the brokenness that has to be fixed, that has to be, it's not our job to change other people. It's our job to change ourselves. Right. Change yourself, and the ones around you will also either be changed or change, or they won't even be there anymore.
So do you see cutting off access to those people as helping them, or how? I mean, I'm just wondering what our responsibility is to people that are struggling.
It's simple. It's not as simple as cutting off access, but it is simple because we're looking at ourselves and not everyone around us. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on ourselves. Yeah. And then the environment around us and whom it contains changes accordingly to what's best for those that are in our sphere of influence and best for us. So that's what we're going to really dig into here.
And I have to say, you just hit on something that is it's just so huge for, I think, a lot of people, because KBs are innately incredibly sensitive, empathetic, caring people by nature. And so not taking on responsibility for these people that you do have affection for, that's huge. And it's not the easiest thing.
KB Creative loves authentically the people around them by doing what's right for themselves first. Unconditional love begins with self. And then unconditional love is a benefit to those around you. It's not unconditional love if you are not authentic to self.
Right.
The kinetic belief creative, who pays daily attention to their manifesting journal, begins to develop an intimate lifestyle of kinetic belief. Those who rewild away from negative source influencers won't be following the crowded highway of popular culture either. because they've located their unique, one-of-a-kind self. So their eyes are opened to their differences, their unique purpose that satisfies their soul because it comes from the soul. I grew up in a home that had rules just like most homes. And there were things that I could do, and there were a lot of things that I wasn't allowed to do. And some of those things that I wanted to do, I just wasn't able to, even though I had a talent for some of those things and a desire to do them. My parents were just so busy. I had 3 siblings, and we just didn't have those intimate conversations that really probed my within to understand me. So there were things I had a talent for that I just wasn't able to do. But the border bully of lack of access kept me from certain experiences growing up.
Fascinating.
But when I was old enough to leave home, I had a fighting mentality. I had a resolve, a backbone in me. I got my back up where those desires were concerned because I believed that I deserved to experience the very best version of myself. I deserved to be successful, and nothing was going to stop me from inhabiting the life designed for me. Border bullies will keep you from becoming who you were designed to be. Border bullies aren't necessarily other people either, like I think we've established here. They can be self-induced ideas that, they just stop us. And they give us an excuse for just not doing. And so they'll cause us to just cave in and quit and stay there where it's comfortable, put your old T-shirt on and watch your stories. So what is it that's blocking you today from attracting your best life? Seriously, what is it that's blocking you from imagining those things that you were created to experience, that's keeping those things from becoming you? Most often, it's the negative Neds and those negative Nancys. It's the naysayers, the haters. And they can be family members. They can be friends who fear you becoming successful. Whether we believe it or not, success frightens most people. It changes most things in our lives, and it requires accountability. It requires discipline. You're digging down deep to become the best version of yourself every day. Wow. And you're doing the work of showing up in places you've probably never been before. Your best life would actually prove to the naysayers, the haters, and the resistors that you've defeated their bullying without ever putting your hands on their negative energetics. So the job of the border bully is to stand guard against your best life, to talk junk, and to be your dream blocker if you will allow them.
Wow.
What's happening when families, friends, and loved ones fear you'll change is that they deep down fear that they're somehow going to lose you. The reality of it is that for the KB Creative, they're not going to lose you because you're operating in unconditional love for them. But they don't get that, you see. So the problem with the bully is their love isn't unconditional. So as a result, they fear. So they're continuously standing there with a stop sign to remind you that if you love them, if you really love me, you would honor me by not putting all your energy into the kinetic belief energetics for attracting your best version of yourself. To them, you see, it's okay that you be just like you are right now. That I love you for who you've always been, not for who you say you're wanting to be. Look, without having an intimate knowledge of your genius of purpose, without an intimate knowledge where your genius of purpose is concerned as designed by your creator, border bullies have a real easy time of blocking others from attracting their best lives. Now, none of this means that we have to leave where we are. Don't think you got to pack your bags and drive away. No, to journey out on new adventures into new places, that's not necessarily what we're talking about. No, it could be that you are exactly where you should be, aligned perfectly, doing the very thing that you're good at, where you're surrounded by what you care most about. Perhaps the person you've admired the most has been a great inspiration for you, and you are absolutely fulfilled by doing what you enjoy doing the most right now. Perhaps you're getting up every morning grateful to be doing exactly what you're most compelled to do. However, I'm telling you that without an intimate knowledge of your genius of purpose, it's so easy to become delusional about believing that, we should be somewhere else. And if that somewhere else is not schematized within our original genius of purpose, it's an energetic of the border bully, which produces frustration and dissatisfaction and bitterness regarding our location and where we are, what we're doing right now. So while we're discussing this, there are a lot of people who believe the quality decision to begin pursuing their best life by placing the demand to be perfect in a self-pursuit to advance their life every month out of the year in sickness and in health till death do they part. They just say, well, that's just not possible. What you're talking about, Steve, is not possible. Nobody can do that. And so what happens is they actually develop in the inner border bully whispering, you can't possibly do this. That kinetic belief thing, they're crazy. And you can't do that and keep your sanity. It's not possible. Look, the law of attraction is easy for those determined to step up to the plate and knock the border bullies the moment they show up out of the park.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. Oh my goodness. I may need to take that back later and listen to it again. But what was washing over me is how everything is rooted in fear. All those negative, toxic emotions, whether they come from within or other people or other places, it's rooted in fear. That's the source of all of it. So that developing this awareness about not just people, but ideas and thoughts and things and surroundings, that's going to be huge, like you're saying, for our success to flourish, and not just to dabble in kinetic belief, but to absolutely conquer this thing and that genius of purpose. I love that you keep bringing it back to that, because that's our anchor. That's what we get to keep coming back to remind ourselves of what we're doing, why we're doing it.
And the way we develop it's repetition, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a way of life for the KB creative. It's not something you do once a week. We can't do this intermittently and be successful at it. No, we put on our full body armor, work hard at being persistent, and we refuse to give in by accepting nothing less.
Right.
Negative energetics are a fact of life. I mean, we talk about fear. Fear's here. I mean, it's all around us. It's a fact of life. Negative energetics are relentless border bullies that refuse to give up. And they are on the snack food aisle in the grocery store. They're on 200 news channels and social media. They're in the car next to you with a glaring look. Border bullies are in the shadows of every person's life. And for some, they've taken the spotlight. So from the time we wake up until we go to bed, they're throwing jabs and haymakers at you. They talk junk and they fill your head with what you can't do or how much of a failure you are. They love seeing you agree with those outer voices. The energetics of border bullies' entire existence is to see the you that you're desiring to be just lay down and die. I mean, those energetics create thought forms to justify your negative feelings. Border bullies are there to validate condemning judgments. So I'm telling you, don't be deceived. Those negative energetics will attract the circumstances that you will experience, that you are experiencing perhaps. The law of attraction will surround you with the life of those expectations. Most people remain average, Meg, by not attracting their best lives because they are afraid that they just won't fit in to the expectations of other people if they look within to change. I mean, if I consider me they're not going to like what I'm desiring to become. They've experienced border bullies picking on them, making fun of them, or using some type of passive aggression to control them when they begin improving their vocabulary or expressing new interests or desires for their life. In other words, when a creative begins to grow in some area, border bullies are there to push back. Most people remain in mediocrity out of the fear of not fitting in, fear of ridicule if they change. I mean, this is the result of belonging to a tribe that doesn't celebrate, that doesn't encourage, that does not edify and champion the success of each other's diversity. In other words, staying in the same round-robin cycle of life, hanging out in the proverbial aquarium of round and round we go, with the same negative friends who project being broke. They talk about the drama in their life. They embrace complaining. If you continue to stay around those people, the law of attraction will give you more of what you and them complain about. Believe me, and I speak from experiential knowledge. Like most people, I've experienced my fair share of border bullies, my best life journey blockers. Look beyond those people. The spirit of negative energetics will hate. As a result, friends will become enemies and cause you to doubt rather than believe in your desires and in your dreams without wavering. Because if you dare to believe in you, the power of kinetic belief will manifest explosive change in your life. It's not a respecter of persons. This is the way of creation. This is the way of your best life.
Well, and as you're teaching us about the border bullies today, all the different types that we've probably not even thought of before, it's really becoming so obvious that we have to put a demand on that alone introspective time that you teach us about so often, because that's going to be where you get that bird's eye view, that aerial view. Because when you're in your life, you can't see the forest for the trees, or is it the trees for the forest? Which way is it?
Either
I don't
one.
know.
You're not gonna
Either
see
one.
anyone.
You're not going to see
Right.
anything. But I guess I'm just saying that alone time is going to be absolutely vital and imperative to our success when overcoming these border bullies, because you can't see it. These things are they seem loud and obnoxious as we talk about them, but it's just part of our lives. It's part of the slow fade into a normal life that we've all experienced. And so I love this idea that through journaling, through meditation, through introspection, through living the life of a kinetic believer, you get that perspective on all of this.
And you know what's so exciting is this works for anybody that's willing to work it. I mean, this is the way that, we talk about the 1%ers all the time, is that they are unique and different because they're only just 1% of the people that are fortunate enough. But it has nothing to do with fortune. It has everything to do with embracing the within. Yes. This is not unique to you. Every person who grows by getting excited to advance their mind, body, and soul, to begin attracting dynamic change into their lives, begins by determining to stop letting negative, no good for nothing, life-wasting, best life-hating spirit killers be around them. You just have to end it. And it may take saying goodbye to your enemies, dumping boyfriends or girlfriends who have negative intentions. It may take you dealing with some family with a long-distance phone call. It may be telling them that you'll talk to them later when they start telling you their personal views about your life. Save yourself first if they're setting fire to your dreams. Replace the negative judgments with words of self-encouragement. It's one giant leap to attracting whatever it is you choose by removing the bullies that whisper in your ears.
A big part of today, too, is I feel like you're giving us permission to do this, because before I became a hardcore kinetic believer, I was definitely guilty of making excuses for border bullies. I was always saying, well, they mean this, or they mean that, or they didn't mean to do that. And so I was always, the sensitive one, I guess you could say, just trying to make it okay. And then the day comes where you have to be honest with yourself and with your life. What you're teaching us today is empowering us to do that. It's empowering us to take a hard, solid, clear, authentic view and look at our life.
That's a great point. When you're making excuses for other people, what are you doing? You're doing the work of changing them.
You're carrying the emotional water for them.
What people think about you is none of your business. Change begins with you. Look, the opposers hate it when you start fighting back with words of, I'm doing it. I believe in my purpose. I mean, the energetics of border bullies are nothing but negative, pain in the neck fear suckers who feed off of your destructive agreements. The practice of kinetic belief to attract whatever we desire makes you powerful beyond anything measurable. By rewilding away from every border bully, not just the ones you don't like, okay? Because remember, you unconditionally love everybody. So love has nothing to do with this. But we emotionally disconnect from every border bully. And this is when, and by the way, the border bullies, the energetics, of the negative energetics, it's not a person that we're disconnecting with. It's the negative energetics. And this is when our best life attraction begins. Refuse to ever again fear other people. And that's the biggest fear that keeps most people from ever realizing their dreams. We do the work by looking within. Accept the weird little self that you see as being perfectly made. Fall deeply in love with every nuance of your self, and unspeakable joy will follow.
I have to say, when we activate what you're teaching us today, it's a quantum leap toward an authentic life. Because all of this is very subtle, isn't it? I mean, it's very deceptive. It's very manipulative. And so when we call people out for what they are in our own minds, and we look within, and we even call out our own personal border bullies in our thoughts and in our actions, the level of authenticity that we can reach while doing that is so high and so powerful.
Yeah, and I also want to footnote that when we say call out people, we're not talking about going to somebody and entangling with them and calling them out and pointing fingers at them. That's not what we're talking about. When you call out somebody else's energetics, you're doing it by looking within and saying, this is my truth. Yeah. This is my authenticity. This is who I am. And we don't, remember, change other people because, look, even during a crisis, I'm telling you that when you embrace that within, your genius of purpose, joy is the thing that follows. Unspeakable joy begins to rise up within us. And joy fortifies us with the supernatural power of original creation when we start to feel weak. Our joy level, Meg, it becomes our mental and emotional strength. It's our physical strength as well. Aggressive compassion for yourself is the very beginning to freedom from every border bully.
Yes.
Ralph Waldo Emerson said, live in the sunshine, swim the sea, drink the wild air. I love it. Be your vision of destiny keeper by gratefully moving forward on the highway of life. Just, go arm in arm with those that will champion you.
Wow. Yeah.
Those that embrace you with that spirit of energetics that lifts you up and edifies and encourages you.
And, I like how this is all sort of wrapped in our self-love and our self-esteem and the confidence and the genius of purpose that we're embracing. Because in order to, it's a standard thing, right? I mean, this is raising our standards to this really high level of love, unconditional love, authenticity, someone championing you championing them, putting a demand on relationships to not just take, but be equitable. This is just such a beautiful, sort of almost a vortex that you can imagine of life that you're creating for yourself to experience and live in.
It's self-validating.
Yes.
Okay, we're looking within to embrace ourselves, the original genius of purpose, by falling in unconditional love with self. Our business of change has to do only with self. And then those that are still standing at the end of the day, then those are the ones that are aligning in agreement with your best self because you're doing the same thing for them. And the truth of the matter is, we're not actually unconditionally loving someone else when we are not being authentic to self as a demonstration of who we are to them. So if you're enabling the bad thing, the bad energetic, the bad negative energetic, if you're enabling that in your life by making excuses like you were saying a few minutes ago for the other person, for other people, that's not love. It's not being authentic. It's actually accepting a negative thing, which then, remember, you're going to attract into your life and into their lives as well.
Right.
And that's why so many of us will continue to live the same life that we've been experiencing all these years, having the same negative conversations, the same arguments, the same year after year way of expressing ourselves when we're not developing by advancing our mind, body, and soul as a result. Let's work on some guided thought forms and some affirmations together.
Okay.
Let's defeat those bombing of border bullies.
Let's do it.
Just say this out loud. Say, I am so different.
I am so different.
And I am okay with that.
And I'm okay with that.
Because that makes me me.
And because that makes me me.
And worthy of exploration.
And worthy of exploration.
I am full of life.
I'm full of life.
And fully loved.
And fully loved.
I am safe being who I am.
I'm safe being who I am.
So I fear nothing.
So I fear nothing.
My presence on earth.
My presence on earth.
Especially my purpose.
Especially my purpose.
Makes me a different person.
Makes me a different person.
When I choose to be me.
When I choose to be me.
My value isn't something I need to prove.
My value isn't something I need to prove.
It's just who I am.
It's just who I am.
I'm most beautiful
I am most beautiful
when I'm being authentic.
when I'm being authentic.
I've made it this far,
I've made it this far,
and I'm excited to see
and I'm excited to see
how far I will go.
how far I will go.
I measure my
I
success
measure my success
by how present I
by
am
how present I am
on my best life's journey.
on my best life's journey.
My worth is
My
priceless.
worth is priceless.
I am learning to enjoy
I'm learning to enjoy
the journey of me.
the journey of me. Wow. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Border bullies. I think I can say that. If you do want to check out the Genius of Purpose workbook that Stephen mentioned today, you can do that at StephenCanyon.com. Also, grab a copy of the journal while you're there. Thanks, Steve. This was an amazing podcast.
I've really enjoyed it. Let's go out and see if we can find a pile of snow to play in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Love to all the KB creatives all over the world.
Yeah, thanks as usual, Steve, for all the wisdom.